Are you looking to make the most out of your savings? On Raisin.com, you can earn higher interest rates with just a few clicks. Raisin.com gives you access to some of the best rates on CDs and high-yield savings accounts from our partner banks and credit unions nationwide, all from a single login. With your free account, you can fund and manage multiple savings accounts, maximizing your federal deposit insurance coverage and minimizing headaches. There's no minimums, no hidden fees, and no fine print. Grow your savings today. Visit Raisin.com. That's Raisin.com.
You seem to be just a very huge Renaissance person. You could just do so much, especially being an artist and an entrepreneur. So how does that feel? Just being, it must feel fantastic to be able to do this, especially during COVID.
The kind of buzzword of today is pivot, right?
Yeah.
I think when it initially happened, let's say the beginning of March, and you're kind of going through the shock of, my God, I can't really believe where we are, and you still can't really believe where you are. And then looking into Soho Muse and my business, and kind of looking into, same as you, a lot of our members who are normally on tour, who are normally, performing and are on Broadway shows, that have lost and at the time were losing so much. So we created a series called Saves, and it was a concert series. We do sound checks the night before, and it was a really very raw, up close and personal way in which the performers, whether it's a film that they're showing, whether they're doing an acoustic set, whether we just did a fashion show yesterday, a way in which that they could either do ticket sales or tips by donation. And each one of our members ended up generating income through it, which was just such a gift and such a give back. So when we talk about pivoting, that was, kind of producing content within the site was something very new and something very different that we hadn't done before, which was such a gift. And then actually at Christmas, which is so beautiful, after taking a bit of a hiatus from music, I launched a Christmas single, which 100% of the proceeds went to charity, with my dear friend and someone who I adore, and we've worked so much together. And this beautiful Christmas single that we did, which is so gorgeous, and his name is Milan Breton. So
I heard about that. I heard in the way that your voice is just, it was this wonderful melange with this baritone and your voice. I just like, wow, what a great piece of magic there.
Thank you.
That had to feel like a huge accomplishment.
Well, doing the music video actually was just to be performing again, to actually be on set, to feel there was a little bit of normalcy and just human interaction was so gorgeous. It genuinely was one of my favorite days, and I will treasure that for life. So every moment of filming that was so real and so alive and so much fun. I absolutely loved it.
And it went to where did the proceeds go to? What was the?
It went to the Vanderbilt Museum, which is where I sit on the board, and it went to Milan's organization, which was basically, it's all Broadway artists and part of the LGBTQ community. So he was very passionate, and I'm obviously very passionate about that. So it was a beautiful blend of both.
Yeah, what a great way to end the year, because I know we had been through so much. And how has that been in New York? Have you been coming into the city? Do you get the vibe if you go through the city and see, oh my gosh, Broadway is like so dark right now?
I think there's something, I wasn't here during 9/11. I was born here, but I wasn't here at that time. I think that there's something about the New York spirit that is just, it's fight or flight, right? So it's so determined. It's so extraordinary, right? So you just see people going through the trenches and they're fighting their way through it. And I admire more than anything, like watching these restaurant owners who were so creative in what they invented. Like, I'm sorry, and that's the magic. That's what you watch. You see people in times of struggle, people in times of total despair. What did they do in order to champion their life, champion their workers? And they did. And so I was here watching the whole thing. And I'm absolutely in awe of what they've managed to do. And now, like today, Today was such a beautiful day. And to watch people, they feel like there's kind of some semblance of life, like things coming back a little bit, people feeling a little bit more freed up because the vaccine. And, so I just, yeah, it's been a gift to watch it. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's amazing how much it's changed us where you could see the light through the trees a little bit more now.
Yeah.
And we're definitely going to be back to normal at a certain point, but it's also changed us. And I think we've learned a lot through this too. Hopefully, we learn from history and we don't repeat this. I mean, there probably will be pandemics, but can we be smarter in the future? Hopefully, we've learned from that on a grand scale too.
Yeah, I hope so. I think more the lessons that I hope that we take from this is far more on the humanitarian side of simplicity, actually, and honoring one another and honoring people that are close, and really nurturing, and knowing that we don't actually need that much, which is so exceptional. No matter how much you think that you do need, you really don't, right?
Yes.
And it's so much about your family and your friends and the people that you hold closest to you, right? That, and that's what I hope, and that we're just a little bit kinder to one another, right?
Did
That's
that help you in your personal life too? Just getting to be close with family
Yeah,
again.
it
Yeah.
did actually a lot. And you, did it do that for you?
Yes, it really did. I miss my daughter. She moved to Boston almost 2 years
Oh,
now. But I actually was able to fly up in October, and the
okay.
weather was perfect. So, but I really cherish those moments. But yeah,
Is she okay? Was she like with family in Boston, or is she going to university, or?
no, she works up there and basically is just fell in love with the city and really just enjoys working there. And she's on her own. She's very strong, definitely. Really, just it kind of trumped all that, just being
Wow.
there and then just enjoying things. So she's very strong, doing very, very well. So
So happy
very
to
proud.
proud dad. I love that. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, that does, it really does change you. So speaking of like growing up, when did you realize that you wanted to be an artist? When did that spark start? When you were in school, when you were very young, or just not till much later?
So I was a gymnast. I know. You're like, how does that become an artist? How does that, like,
Well,
I
my
don't
daughter was into
think
that
that.
too. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
she was into gymnastics and then cheerleading and competition cheer and all of that. And she's very
oh,
creative too. So yeah, I could
fantastic.
see that.
Can't wait to meet your daughter. Kindred spirit,
This is
right?
wonderful.
I'm sure she is. So I started when I was 2, and I was taken to my first little gymnastics class, and I loved it. And then I moved to London when I was 6.5,
Mm.
and there was this incredible. It was called the Queen's Mother Sports Center, and it was so huge, and I'll never forget. There's the smell is so strong, honestly, and what this. It's incredible how senses, right, just come alive when you smell something, and when I talk about it, it's really there. So I'll never forget. I walked into the Queen's Mother Sports Center with my mom, and there were these huge bleachers, and I looked down, and there were the most amazing gymnasts and rhythmic gymnasts, and it was this huge hall, right? And I was like, I have to do that. I have to do that. So, being the precocious 6.5, 7-year old that I was, I went down and I met the coaches, and there were these 2 coaches called Jill and Peter. And I said, I want to be a gymnast and I can do this. And, right. And there were all these beautiful, long, lean, lanky, tall, as they are, English gymnasts. And there I am, the short, more muscular type gymnast, right? Muscular body type. And I trained, and they put me in this is like vigorous training in order to get in. And I was so excited. And I got in literally probably after about 6 months, and I loved it. It was the most competitive, brilliant, something that I would tell any parent on the planet, because that type of discipline, growing up and learning about just, I keep using the word discipline, but learning about actually how to show up for yourself, how to learn about your body, how to learn about being a teammate. There's so much to that sport. So it came down to, I was probably just turning 11. And my coaches, at this point I was doing 24 hours a week, which is a lot, and ballet. And I was training every weekend at my coach's house. And they said, look, either you're going to do this full time, and I would need to be homeschooled, or you need to stop now and really pursue school. So my parents made the decision, and I stopped. No regrets, actually. It was the perfect time, because I would be watching, like I would do, let's say, a beam exercise. I would get off and I'd be looking up at the bleachers to see who was watching me. And I'm like, there's something about entertaining. Like I'm much more, I need to be out there, like front and center. That's so,
more, yeah.
right. Just, needed a little bit more. So I tried out for the choir and I didn't get in. And I was like, what? So I trained for 6 months, and I ended up having the loudest voice in that choir, and I haven't shut up since.
When did you really feel like, God, I could sing, I could hit these notes? I just, is there something like you hear in your ears, like earworm, that you could do this? Or did you have a vocal coach as well?
I did. I had extraordinary vocal coaches. My first, when I was in the choir, I had a very soprano voice, and we were singing a lot of hymns, and I was very religious at the time, and I just loved it. It felt so easy and so natural. And actually, as I progressed and got a little bit older, I had different types of challenges, and I worked with some of the best coaches on the planet, from Ron Anderson, Seth Riggs, who taught Whitney Houston. I mean, truly across the gamut. I feel very honored. And they were trying to approach labels when I was 16. So there was always, which was such a gift, there, people often saw something and heard something, and it took time for me to develop, but music was always in my soul.
Yeah, that must have been fantastic. How did you get into recording? How did that all come about, and you just getting these singles out?
So I was living in London at the time, and I'd had a kind of crazy experience in life. I was living in Italy before that, and I've always had a bit of a nomadic life. And so I was living in London, and I had a terrible car accident, and
That's so devastating. I'll tell you, even like, and thank God I haven't been in like huge accidents, but even just at slower speeds, when somebody hits you, it really does. That makes a big change in your life. It's scary. It makes me a little paranoid. There's like a PTSD kind of thing that happens after that. I'm sure it happened.
there is. Well, I ended up with this dimple, which my ex called an angel's kiss. So I'm gonna hold that. Very sweet that he named that. But it was a very traumatic accident, and it really changed the course of who I was, what I was about. And it took me.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
About a year to really heal from this. And I got into theater school, and I ended up actually recording my first song. And I really learned actually how to write through this process, which was so beautiful. I don't know that my life and what I've done would be the same had this not happened. It it opened my heart, it opened my eyes, it allowed me to learn how to write. My first song was with this extraordinary writer called Nicholas Whitecroft, who was signed to a very big publishing deal in London. And my first song, it was called Let Love Wash Over Me. I was signed to Sanctuary Records with that song.
How did that feel when you first got that and you got down to that final mix? I'm sure it was a, labor of love too, but how did that feel when you first heard that back? It's like, wow.
I couldn't believe where I was. And it was such an honor. I was able to have my mom, and the recording studio was called Nomad, and the mixing room. And it was just this huge council. And it just, it felt like everything that I'd been through and all the experiences all made sense up until, right. It was all worth every second of it. And I felt really proud. I really did.
Yeah, you have to feel 10 feet tall. Like I've done like comedy routines or something in front of a crowd. And just when you do that, the house lights are on you. And this is a performer, the house lights are on you. And you feel, and your voice is projected, and you still feel so big. And then you come down off of that. There's probably like
yes, you do.
So recording, how is that? How do you write a song? Do you do it on your voice? Do you hear melodies in your voice and just kind of record it into your phone? Or how does that come about?
Every song is different. So I've always had journals by my bed, right? I've had voice recorders because I have either come up, let's say, with song titles that become, the lyrics of a particular song, a theme, an idea of a song, or a melody, a riff that I come up with, or I play something on the guitar or piano. So, again, every song it comes up with, and then it's magic. You never know what is going to come with writing a song. There's specific formulas into writing pop songs and writing there is, sure. But the bones, the actual bones and the melody and all of it coming together really is magic. I spent a lot of time in Nashville actually working and honing my craft as a writer. So that was an incredible experience.
I hear a lot about Nashville on my podcast here. I'm losing count how many people have been in Nashville now. And they just love the experience because you don't have pretension of these bigger cities, these bigger markets. So they feel like there's just this real great community to produce music. Yeah, it's glowing.
No, you could be at Starbucks and you could just meet another writer who is just writing with Garth Brooks. But there is because it's small, reputation is very fast, and who you work with. And it's like you're just in this wonderful world where, that person will say, you should really write with him and you should really write with her. And there's an expectation that you have the bones of a song in 2 hours, no question. So you're really learning that discipline very fast, which is amazing.
So after your first single, did you have several other singles and then you had a full album? Was that out, 6-7 years ago now?
No. So what happened? So my first single, Let Love Wash Over Me. And I did my first EP when I was signed to Sanctuary Records. And then I moved to LA and I had a fantastic production deal with Peter Amato and Jess Sutcliffe. And then I came on to actually working with a 7-piece male rock band, which is so much fun. And we toured and played around LA, which is amazing. And our first single from that album actually stayed on the charts for 16 weeks and went to number 11 on the Billboard dance charts. And so that was really my first single. And it was just incredible because I had always been in either like trip hop and pop, kind of more in the Dido type vein. And to move into the dance genre was so completely different. And so then I had another 4 singles after that. And my last single went to number 5 in the US. And I toured around Europe with that, which was amazing. And so I left my last tour 4 years ago.
So you must really, really miss that live performing and getting that reaction. And
I do. There's nothing that ever compares to that. There isn't.
Yeah, just getting that. What's the difference? How do you feel like when you're in Europe versus the US? How are those audiences different in reaction? Any one more powerful than the other? It's just different in its own way.
Germany was and has been just a very, very loving and open audience to me. They're so receptive to music. I'll never forget, I was interviewed by one of the oldest stations in Berlin, and the DJ had been there for God knows how many years. And he said, the difference between the way that you hear music and the way we hear English music is that we learn that melody. We know everything that song is. And then we know the lyrics because it's obviously our second language. So we are so invested into that song in a very different way than you hear it. And I said, wow, it's just, yes, logically it makes sense, but it's not something you would think about, right? So their love and their passion and their charisma. I mean, I'll never forget my last show, there were just thousands and thousands of people, and people just had like images of me for the last 10 years, signing autograph, like just because they're so invested. And I don't mean that in a bragging way, just people are invested into your life. People are invested into your career and following you, and that you've, if you made a little bit of an impact that day, what a great gift is that. And to watch people singing your songs, there is no greater feeling on this planet.
Oh, what an honor that somebody would cover you. Yeah, it's like, well, now I know I've really made that.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. How has your family been as far as supporting you in the endeavors that you've been into? Always challenging. There's always like one parent, like, I don't know, my mother kind of questioned me going into communications, but my dad always wanted me to go into it because he didn't like what he embarked on in life. So he wanted what was best for me. So there's always that yin yang with a family, I'm sure.
I don't think it was probably what they expected or anticipated or thought it was going to be at all. I embarrassed my mom a lot. Anywhere we would go, I would get up and I'd want to sing, and she was like hiding underneath the table. It's like, please, God, please don't. And so I think there was a lot of that. But I've always been my own rebel, really. I've always kind of led to the beat of my own drum. So.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of raising kids and family. It's like, you just never know what you're going to end up getting. They always surprise. Kids will always do that. They'll always surprise you, I'm sure.
Sure. That is so true. I'm so sure about that.
So what was it like going through school all the years, just growing up and also getting into singing in the arts? Did you have friends who were very receptive to you doing this kind of work?
Oh, that's a really good question. Did I have friends who were very receptive? I did, actually. I had, my very, very closest friends who were always with me were amazing champions of me singing. So anywhere we went, they were always like, please get up and sing, please do that, right? So no, they were really wonderful and very, very supportive.
Yeah, that's even more important in that way than your family supporting you. It's your friends, because then you're really being accepted by your peers in that regard, and you're gonna get that support. So, and it's not this false sense of security either they're giving you. It's real honest feedback. And to get that, I'm sure, was probably very liberating growing up, I'm sure.
True, it really was, yes. Yeah.
Did you do anything besides music? Were you getting into acting? Was that something else that you were interested in?
Yeah, I always actually thought that music would take me into acting. So I was in theater school, which was incredible. I've worked with amazing acting coaches. I've always loved it. And I feel like that's such a part of it, even shooting music videos. There's such a, and I really enjoyed it. And I've been in multiple plays, and I just, and especially actually moving to New York, I also thought that would be another area. But, building Soho Muse has been my life, my kind of, my soul, really, for the last 4 years. And so I've dedicated everything to that. I would love to be able to actually embark on that. And, I also just as you, like, I love being a talk show host. I love doing that. So there's so many different areas too that I think they're just exploring right now. So it's always a new chapter, right?
Yeah, it really is. I think with the arts, it's always about, you end up stumbling into things. It's just the timing in that regard too. There is a little bit of luck in who you know, but it's just like what you stumble into. You could end up hosting a syndicated talk show you don't know, or you could end up in film. You could just be in somebody's movie and go on that carear. And that's kind of the beauty of it.
Right? Now, has anyone ever told you look a little bit like Anderson Cooper?
We're somewhat colleagues because I've edited some of his stuff.
I'm sure you have.
Nobody said to him. I would be compared in some ways. If I'm in black and white, I'm like Stanley Tucci.
Okay.
But I let this go gray, just like Anderson did. Yeah, we're the same age, so to give that away.
But I can see that you have a little bit of resemblance in the facial structure. You do.
I love Anderson. Did you get to know him at all or anything?
I've met him twice.
Okay.
Obviously, and he's, I mean, what a beam of light. Like, that man walks into a room and he's like, hello, I'm here. He has so much presence. And I really admire him. So
yeah, he's the real deal. I remember him back in 2003 coming down here to Atlanta because we used to have him do some anchoring on the weekends. That's when he was really getting his chops going. He had just finished being on The Mole. And he was just getting into being on the network, and he's still the same. And it really hasn't gotten to him. His head has not exploded at all. He really keeps it real.
That's the impression that I got, actually. It really did feel that way. Just very kind, very caring, always wanting the truth. You know what I mean? His eyes are so piercing. It's like they're like going straight at you, like, I'm going to get it all out of you. Anything. It's like that. Yeah.
That's why I love seeing him on 60 Minutes and doing that work too. He does great work with that. And I saw him here when he came here with Andy Cohen. They did a tour and they did a talk with an audience.
That must have been so much fun.
Yeah, they had a great
tour and their relationship, right?
Oh, I love it.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry. We were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
I love it. They have great stories.
They do.
Fun evening. I just, really, really like Anderson. He says he never really wanted to go to the Vanderbilt house.
Nope,
that was not even an interest for him at all or anything, but I've been there many a time. I love that. It's gorgeous.
The one in Suffolk County?
In Asheville.
In Asheville, okay.
It's beautiful over there. Yeah, I love going up there. Asheville, North Carolina is just not too far from Atlanta. I've spent a lot of time up there, done some shoots up there as well.
Fun.
Yes.
Never been to Atlanta. Would love to come, never been.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is a wonderful place, and so many artists came up through here too.
It's true.
Great place to perform as well if you
really
ever get out here and perform again.
Okay, we will see. Well, then I'll hopefully get to meet you in person.
That would be awesome. It really would. Definitely. So what's it like putting together a full album? You've had that. It's called, what is it? I'm Just Me?
Yes.
What was that like putting that together? Is that just, very laborious, just trying to get all the parts together and working with a producer?
I'm Just Me took me about 2 years. And it was such a passion of love, because every single one of those songs are chapters of my life. And, you know, the flow of an album is so important. And there's so many different tests that you're doing, right? Card tests, like mini test. I mean, just there's 1,000 things that go into this. And, I worked with a variety of different producers, vocal producers, vocal arrangers. I mean, I recorded in London, Nashville, New York, LA. It was a cosmopolitan record. And did I just say Nashville as well?
Earlier, yeah.
Recorded also in Nashville for one of the songs, Peter Collins, who's absolutely brilliant. And so each song had something very different, from live strings to full, drum and bass productions. Like it just all embodied something different. And I loved the flow of it. I loved watching it. I had an incredible team who was also so passionate about it to make sure that it came out, kind of the way that I saw and felt that I could leave this record, and if no one ever heard it, that would be okay, because it meant so much on every detail. And so then from just the creating the booklet and the images that went into it and all the lyrics, it just, some of the songs I rewrote those lyrics probably 200 or 300 times, no exaggeration.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. When it's more personal like that, it really comes out in the final product. It's so much better when you could write what you know, and
Yep.
that would go with all your works, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And actually that goes from writing a ballad to writing an up-tempo dance track. Because, that's the beauty. And I think Dua Lipa is actually doing such a great job with that, because her lyrics and how she's weaving her stories through it, unlike, really barring Madonna, I've never seen an artist like this who's really been able to craft that and craft it really well.
Yeah, I was one of those few guys in high school like Madonna. I was like, I brought my Like a Virgin shirt to school.
Good for you. Yes, and you admit it. So good.
I admit it these many years later too, but at the time, I mean, I was at a school where it's like, Bruce Springsteen was big that year, but it was like kids were really into AC/DC, the more hard Black Sabbath, Ozzy, that kind of stuff. I was like, I went to Madonna. It was fantastic. more young, available women then too, I'm sure. You wouldn't find them at a Black Sabbath show. I mean, come on.
My God, no, probably not. Different demographic, no.
Way more attractive crowd there. So. But yeah, she was amazing. But Dua Lipa, I saw, they reran that Saturday Night Live the other night, and what a great artist too. Is that one of your many inspirations? Do you have a lot more inspirations for your music?
I actually only recently kind of discovered her. So no, she was definitely not my inspiration, but I really admire what she's doing. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely. But from when you write, now, do you work with instruments? Or are you trained on guitar, piano?
Yeah, I started actually with the flute. I was a flautist. I went to grade 7. So that helped me a lot in actually training my ear and melodies, which was brilliant. But I play guitar and I play a little bit of piano. I need to get a little better with the piano. That's kind of also my goal. I really, really I wanted to take this time actually during the pandemic and really train on the piano. And I didn't get a chance to do that as much as I wanted to. So, but I will.
It sounds like you could be a self-teacher, and you could do very well at that if you wanted to.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
But then again, your hands in so many other pies too, I'm sure, just being an entrepreneur and doing everything you do.
Exactly.
So you into other charities as well? I was seeing an ovarian cancer charity that seems to be very close to you as well.
So I was very, very involved. When I lived in LA, I was the vice president of the Ovarian Cancer Coalition. this exceptional woman, Gail McKenna, who founded it. She had ovarian cancer for over 35 years. And she was a trailblazer. She wasn't afraid of anything. That woman could go anywhere, do anything. There was no no's. So we spent a lot of time together. I released a lot of singles, actually toured to raise money for her charity, went to Washington multiple times, lobbied for money for the organization. I mean, just hand to heart, it meant so much to me. And it was while my mom was struggling with ovarian cancer. So it was very, very real. And sadly, since I've been here, I haven't been that active, but it's an organization that I think is absolutely brilliant. And anyone who's ever, knock on wood, experiencing ovarian cancer, I always champion them to go there. They're just an incredible resource.
Yeah, it reminds me of Gilda's Club. I don't know if you're familiar with that, Gilda
No.
Radner's organization.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they call it Gilda's Club. I think it's something in New York.
Okay.
I've read over the years. Yeah, but gosh, yeah. But it must feel so good to get involved. And I like when artists do this. And some people are very cynical about it. But it's so great that artists get involved in causes. I love to see that happen.
But when it's real, like I was involved in the American Cancer Society because my dad had a heart attack before he was 60. Like, I think when you find whatever it may be, passion projects, things that touch your heart, because there is so many causes, but you're really authentic about it, you can feel it, right? Yeah. It's like anything in life, you just know, right? And so I believe when you can advocate for something that you wholeheartedly, like you want to make a change, you want to make a difference, people can feel that they will help you, they will support you, and they will follow on your train. It's a very interesting thing when you're not, and you're sitting and the motivation is different. I don't think you ever impact the same way.
Yeah.
That's, you know.
It really is. It's just a wonderful feeling. I do a lot of, charity stuff too, especially with my running. I do, runs for charities and stuff.
Oh, good. How often do you run?
Oh, almost every day.
Do you?
Do it every single day, but almost.
Good for you. How many miles?
Since the pandemic, I've been really doing the 5 and 10K lengths and sometimes the 10 milers. I did a full marathon 4 years ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah, full one. That's a real doozy. A lot of times I'll do half marathons. Those are a little more reasonable. A full takes a lot of dedication, but I like tying that in with I'm running for this cause and raising, or I'll raise some money for that. I'm not much of a fundraiser, but I'll ask people to, especially the Cancer Society too, because I have a sister who's battling stage 4 lung cancer. So
I'm so sorry. Oh God.
Very well. It was really, really battling though, trying to get the insurer to cover a drug that's really keeping her going. That's really tough.
So sorry for you. My prayers are with you and your family, and sorry. I was going to tell you I met this guy recently who ran from LA to New York.
I love hearing that.
Okay. I'm like, are you insane? 51 miles a day. No exaggeration.
One a day?
Yes, a day. And then I said, what are you listening to? Nothing. And
Nothing.
I said, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Who can do that? Who can run for 51 miles and not listen to anything? He said, well, I have music in my head. Music in your head? Like, what do you mean?
Are you writing your own songs in your head? Because I'd like to. Really? Wow. No, I could not do that. I need something in the head. Yeah, definitely. Wow, that's
I know.
Crazy.
It's really crazy. And I really
21 a day.
Yes, a day. And honestly, that just was like a blip. It's still on the weekends 35 miles. I'm like, what? Where are you going?
How long does that take? My gosh.
I know. New goal, by the way. No. Yep, that's exactly how I felt. I had to share it with you. I haven't actually shared that information with anyone. I was blown away.
My hips are starting to hurt right now. Yeah.
All of it hurts. Everything hurts. And the quietness in your head for that many miles, really, that's a long time.
That's serious overkill. My hat's off to somebody who can do that. That's yeah. You can't really, like every day. I don't know about doing that. I mean, I like to cycle and do other things too. So I mean, you got to vary it up.
I didn't mean to make you feel bad.
Now I gotta get up.
I'm so sorry. I did not mean to. I'm sorry.
Said I'm running to New York.
I can see that competitive person. Yes, I'll be.
I know. Tell me about it.
Right?
I know. I get challenged by people to say, "Yeah." My girlfriend like saying, "Why don't you just do races?" And that's why I got into it. I was running for a long time, and then I met her. Almost 10 years ago now. And she's like, "You're doing all this running. Why don't you just start doing races?" I was like, I didn't want to be around other people, and maybe I was going to be in their way, and they were going to shove me out of the way. I was like.
You're like, go.
And I got addicted to it because I loved it. I mean, there's a real camaraderie when you do these races, and everybody's in it. Yeah.
How fun.
Absolutely. Well, here in Atlanta, we do something called the Peachtree Road Race on July 4th.
Okay.
This past year, they didn't do it. We did it virtually, but it's the world's largest 10K, which is 6.2 miles, and about 60,000 people come to it. So just think about that, trying to organize that.
Wow.
It's a lot of fun.
That's a lot of bodies.
Yes. Yes. Oh, yeah, that's huge. Very, very big. So if out of all your singles, which one really is your it's hard because they're probably all your babies, I'm sure, but which one stands out for you that you enjoy the most performing?
Good question. Feel So Alive.
Yeah, these nice danceable things that have been on the charts, I'm sure. Now, can we hear these like when you go to dance clubs and they're just like the DJs is blasting these?
They did. They were. Oh, yes. I closed white parties. Oh, yes. I closed it all. So much fun.
I can picture that.
Yeah. Played. I mean, I've done every Capitol Pride, 250,000 people in Washington. I mean, just really had the best time on the planet.
Oh, that must have been so fun. I'm sure.
Fun. Oh my God. Just in the diversity of people, right? And just so open. Yeah.
It really is. Really, hopefully you can get back to doing those kind of
I hope so. And then that single, actually, the video was banned in 10 countries.
Oh, what happened in there? I'm sure, yeah, some of these countries, they have, crazy culture and leadership, I'm sure.
And it wasn't for what you think at all. It was not sexual by any means. It was actually, the director had come to me and had a very personal experience with a morticianer when he was a child. And so he said, because the song's called Feel So Alive, and it's absolutely a romance. It's a Ginger Rogers, Fred Astaire, like it's that. And he said, how would you feel about being in, like working with the morticianer and being actually in, kind of a mausoleum, like doing it. Well, no, it's, what's it called? I'm losing my mind. I'm so sorry. And where you get buried. What's the, like
just your cemetery or?
But it's kind of it's all the foundation, like the prep work that they do before moratorium.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what I meant, moratorium. So, and I said, well, that sounds very intriguing.
Hey, anything, different visuals, interesting visuals.
And I love music videos, and I love making a difference, and I love doing things that are juxtaposition and that aren't the same. And so at one point, they actually, like where they put you into that kind of casket area, right, where you were alone by yourself. There is no ventilation. There is no anything. And I was there for 40 minutes. So when they pulled me out, there is a tear that's coming down.
Wow.
And that was so real. Oh, yes.
That's an interesting story with stories with music videos, I'm sure. Oh my gosh. What's it like though, shooting music videos? It's just, I mean, obviously you enjoyed that.
It's the greatest. It is so much fun because you're acting, you're singing, you're doing everything. It's just, I think it's one of the greatest mediums. I really do. It is just brilliant.
Yeah, I remember when that all started, and so many artists were resistant to it. You had a few nuggets here, like David Bowie loved doing it. I mean, he really just adopted the form, but others are just like, I'm not an actor.
Really? I didn't know that.
Plenty. New York's own Billy Joel, who would always say, I can't stand doing these. That's just not me. But, no, it wasn't for everybody's cup of tea. But, David Bowie was amazing. Michael Jackson and Prince and all these other people.
God, yes. Like legends, of course.
Totally. Gosh. So what's life like in New York now? I mean, are you going out doing very much? Do you go to Central Park?
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, we're starting to. It's just started really opening up a little bit. And the weather's getting a little bit nicer. And restaurants now, you're at 25% where you can actually go in, you can eat inside, which is fantastic. And so it's the glimpse. We're seeing the light a little bit. And there's a lot of people getting vaccines, which is fantastic. So people are being really safe. And so, yeah, it is. It's all starting to open up.
So right now, what are you planning on once, going forward? Doing more recording, taking on more charities, doing more entrepreneurial work?
So my company, Soho Muse, we're just doing so much. Not only we're creating so much content, as I mentioned, our concert series, we have a voice series. We did a whole BLM LGBTQ event, which was so extraordinary, from people like Linda Perry to Ja Rule to just unbelievable talent. We have a sustainable fashion event coming up in April. I have a younger tier that opened up called Soho Muse World. So we're working with a lot of universities right now and helping to mentor kids, provide internship opportunities, create these master classes. And so it's a beast of helping creatives be the best of themselves, to connect, collaborate, distribute their work. So that's really become something that's very, very important to me.
And getting back into traveling too, I'm sure.
And yes, of course.
You're a world traveler. You've been in many countries, I'm sure.
I feel very blessed. I've traveled a lot.
You learned other languages? Can you get around?
I do. I speak French and Italian.
Knew you were you're trilingual.
They needed still a little bit of work, let me be honest. Like my grammatical and written, yeah. But I can conversationally, yes, absolutely. And I did record a song in Spanish, with Spanglish. That was fun.
Spanglish.
Yes.
That is so cool. Yeah, it'll be nice to get out there again and get in.
Right.
What are you into with fashion?
As far as my own,
do you do fashion shows? Do you do performing at fashion shows, or do you model yourself as well?
I've done both. Just such a gift. But yes, I performed at fashion shows. I have modeled which has been so much fun. I love fashion. I do. But I'm not a big shopper at all, actually. I'm one of those very strange, rare chicks where you're like, you don't like shopping? And I'm like, no, I really don't. I actually get anxiety going into stores and shop. Like, I'm a person that I go in, I know exactly what I want. I can pick 2 or 3, and then I'm done. If I spend too long, like, it really drives me. And my friends don't understand. Like, why don't you enjoy? I just said, I can't do it. I just can't.
I can understand that. It's weird. It depends on what I'm shopping for that I'm really interested in. Like, obviously I like electronics. I like, video software and equipment. I'm into that. But, in clothes, I do enjoy that. I can get into that. I can get lost in some of those kind of places, definitely. But yeah, it's, some people just have that kind of anxiety. It's like, I got to get out of here. I can understand that.
Can't do it. Just can't do it.
So have you spent time in Milan? Is that one of those locations that you gone to, being in the fashion world and all of that?
Florence. I lived in Florence
Oh.
actually just after high school, which is one of the best things I've ever done in my whole life. I was there for nearly a year. I haven't really spent that much time in Milan. No. Paris.
It's kind of jogged my memory because of fashion. I know you spent time in Italy, but just the fashion, the fashion mecca. So many people flock to.
They do. It's so true.
But I love Florence. I've been to Florence. I did a feature on Rome, Florence, and Venice many years ago.
Oh wow, fantastic!
Love.
Did you ever want to leave?
Never. I wanted to check out the Amalfi Coast and other cities beyond there. But yeah, everything is just so wonderful and unique there, and the architecture is amazing.
And I love it. I mean, that you can just drive literally from the north, which we did actually 2 summers ago, and through the Amalfi Coast, which you have to do. Positano. I mean, it just truly one of the most exceptional, because just as you said, every town has its own flavor because it's the people, their specific like delicacies in their way that they present their food and what they do, and just they're so warm, they're so kind, they're so loving. Think about moving there. Yes.
I discovered, because I'm not a huge meat person, I loved Rome for all the pasta and the pizzas and all that. But I think it was around like Florence and places like that where I was getting into like prosciutto and salamis and stuff like that, and cheeses and salami, because I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, and we had a lot of Italian Americans there who had like Italian American delis. So it brought all that back to me. I was like, oh my gosh, I just totally forgot about all this stuff.
Oh my God, amazing. So incredible. It is. I love it.
Have you caught any of Stanley Tucci's
I was
show?
just about to ask you that. Have you seen that?
Love it.
Haven't. Really? Do you feel like you're really there? Do you feel like he really takes you on the, okay.
Oh, he does. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he does a fantastic job. This is a cheap plug because I'm a Warner Media employee. But yeah, wow, he does a spectacular job. It's beautiful, and the way they shot it, and he's just so at home, and obviously knows Italian, so he converses with people. I just saw the Bologna episode, and I got to catch up on the last episode.
They've done so much promotion for this.
Oh yeah.
I mean, is that really one of the first original content that they've ever done?
No, they've had the last 7 or 8 years. They've been getting outside content.
Okay. Because I never have seen this much promotion. I was like, my God, this is extraordinary what they're doing for him.
It is. I think they do a fantastic job. They're going to do another season. He's been renewed again. So
right. Look at that. Still in Italy or moving? Is he venturing out?
Gotta be. Well, yeah, I can't imagine he's going to be searching in another country, but that's true. I don't know if it's still going to be Italy. I think it is because it's the same title. So I think he's going to do another season in Italy. I'm pretty sure though.
Very interesting.
Oh, it's just so good. And yeah, the places where he goes and they put together cheeses and how they process that. It's really amazing.
Oh, thank you for telling me that. I will absolutely watch that. It looks so delicious. Like you want to actually jump into the television. You're like, please take me there, please.
And talk about prosciutto, and he goes through, and they show all these dead pigs in this place that he's being toured around in, and how they preserve all that. There's all this quality checking going on.
Oh, goodness. Wow.
Italy is just magnificent.
What a treat to be here with you. Thank you so much for having me. This is so much fun to get to know you. It's wonderful.
Absolutely. It's been a delight. And I really hope to hear and see more of you as we climb out of this pandemic.
Me too. And I can't thank you enough. This has really been wonderful.
Take care. Have a good evening.